And we have a new date right now. We got a trailer for the Yoshi game that we talked about earlier. So it just, for a lot of people, feels like no direct until June. So let's set aside all the rumors and talk about when we realistically think a direct could happen. The first direct of the year. And what, after going over all the games in our prior topic, do we think this direct needs to do beyond giving release dates for already announced games, plus anything else that you guys wish to discuss that pertains to this direct?
Dipping out. All right.
I thought something was going to happen. I thought he was going to say something, or
I was waiting for it, and what's happened is he left.
Bye.
Well, his internet's still out anyways.
Yeah, right.
Someone break into his house. He's about to kick some ass. Anyways.
So yeah, this is a really interesting one. I think a lot of us were ready for January, then June. But it's been a little while now. People are definitely feeling anxious. We've got the June party. We've got the before June party. We've got the Nash party. We've got the there is no direct party. Switch 2 has already failed, and Nintendo's getting ready to release their next console. Full brand new concept. Landon, where do you land on this? What do you think's going on? When do you honestly believe we'll be getting the next mainline direct? What are your hopes and expectations or concerns for it? What do you really believe Nintendo needs to do here?
Hold on. Before we go, Stash, should you really run off just because you needed an RC Cola?
Yeah.
We all thought there was like something major going down, and the major is I'm getting a cola.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's the king of colas. It's something to be excited about.
Who doesn't run off for an RC Cola?
What's wrong with me? Why don't I run off of that? All right. Sorry, go, Led.
Man, I don't know. This is a weird year for Nintendo.
I'm sensing you sound defeated, man. What's going on here?
Not defeated, but kind of just like, oh man. So one of you guys brought it up earlier. It's not the fact that there's not games, because Nintendo is giving us the information that we need for the games that are, coming up in the next couple months. They give us Yoshi now for May. They're filling out gaps. We're probably going to have Fire Emblem in June or July. So like they're keeping us, they're keeping games coming out. But there's just that lack of like excitement in the community. You jump into a lot of people say 2018 was like really bad for Nintendo. It was the year they slowed down after that, incredible 2017. But I'm like, but also it was the year that we were so hyped for Smash Ultimate the whole year. Nintendo's having that big, like, yeah, I mean, Nintendo's having that big, what was that thing? They was going around to all the different, campuses and stuff for like game day and having the Smash truck. And like me and my friends went to that at Ohio State, and it was so much hype about the game. Like, just the whole year, even though there wasn't a lot to play, we had something to all be excited for, something to speculate, something to talk about nonstop. And it's just, that's just, I think, something that everybody wants right now, that next big thing. And for me, I was just really happy because I'm one of the few people that think that if Nintendo has already a lot of games that they have announced already, that's where I found the Nintendo Directs to be the most, interesting. When they have stuff like they had Splatoon Raiders, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave, Yoshi before they started talking about it even more, Rhythm Heaven Groove. They have all these games that you can fill in, because we know Nintendo Directs, mostly the new announcements are the beginning of the show and the end of the show. Maybe the middle of the show as well, sometimes, occasionally, but those are going to be your big heavy hitter announcements, lots of smaller stuff in between. So when you have all the stuff that we don't have any information about, that's normally when your directs are like pretty good. You're getting new stuff, you're getting informational stuff that you don't know about that's already been announced. So I was thinking, like, man, now's the time. Like, this is a really good time to start, fleshing out the rest of the year. Zelda anniversary. You could do so much stuff right here. And on top of that, it's the end of Mario's anniversary. You have Mario Day right around the time. So I really thought, beginning of March was a really good time frame to have some really good announcements and stuff with the direct, but it never happened. And I don't even know when to expect. I mean, a lot of people are saying June. I'm not 100% sure. I know it depends on the year and stuff. Obviously for Switch 2, they didn't have anything in June. I think also in 2022, they didn't have anything besides a partner direct in June. So I'm like, you don't know. I mean, they could just say, we're not going to do anything in June. Let's just give more trailers for the Splatoon, for Fire Emblem. I personally think they kind of have to, though. I'm saying April or May for me personally. I'm thinking for sure before June still. But I mean, yeah, I just think we want that hype back in the community right now. We don't need a direct, no, because there's stuff coming out. But I mean, it's just something that would shut people up with certain things, with prices and with game key cards and stuff that Nintendo is doing. Just having those big, exciting things to look forward to again. So I'm hoping April or May. I just want to see Splatoon Raiders, for crying out loud. Like, I want to see what this game is. I've been asking for a single player focused Splatoon game since the beginning. So like, I just want to see that.
And that's a game that I wouldn't be surprised, Landon, I feel like they're good. Whether or not that appears in a mainline direct, I wouldn't be surprised if it did. It makes sense to be there, but it's also a game that I fully expect to have an announcement for like a standalone direct as well, to talk, do that full breakdown of, we're doing a Splatoon Raiders focused direct to go over what makes this game unique and special and what separates it from the mainline series. I think we'll get a good dose of that. I'm very anxious as well to see what that game is. I have a lot of speculation and thoughts on what it could be, but I'm with you there. I don't think enough people are hyped at what that could be, given that the Splatoon single player has been more of kind of like a training type courses to get you prepared for the multiplayer. So I hear you.
Yeah, and even with like, I just jumped into Fire Emblem for the first time last year with 3 houses, and I loved it. And I am like already turned around, so excited for Fortune's Weave.
Absolutely.
So just literally seeing some of that right now would be awesome. And
Totally.
it's looking like it's going to pull, be very similar to 3 houses. There's even like story tie-ins I've seen, and I'm like, yeah, let's learn about it. I feel like this is the time. And it's just weird because when they're really like conservative with their directs, their general directs, it's because of a reason. It's because it's like, there's nothing to show. They're going through something, whether it be like with COVID and they're just doing partner directs, or if they're transitioning consoles. But I'm like, man, this is a start year 2 of your new console. Like, it's kind of shocking that there's not like a big presentation in the first 3 months. I still don't think there's going to be one in March. We could be surprised, who knows? But I just, it's a little shocking to me.
I hear you. Good stuff. Eric, what are your thoughts on this, man? Do you think when do you expect us to get our first mainline direct of the year? Do you think we'll be waiting until June? Do you think we'll be getting something sooner? What are you hoping and expecting to see there? And like what are your overall thoughts on this?
What I'm hoping versus what I'm expecting is probably about as far apart as you possibly can get. I want it now because I want to see what Nintendo has up their sleeve for the future. Just because I'm excited for it. And when I'm expecting it, at this point with Nintendo, like Landon said, this is just an odd year. I have no clue what they're doing. And it's both exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. So this is just kind of toss the cards up in the air and play 52 card pickup, and we're going to get what we get. So.
All right. Let's see. Let's go with Thunder. Let's go with the Thunder Man. Thoughts on this? When are you expecting this? Do you think we'll be waiting until June? Do you think it's possible we'll get it sooner? What do you think Nintendo needs to have there to get everyone excited? And what are your kind of hopes or expectations for the first direct?
Okay, so to get everyone excited, E for everyone, you would need Mario, 3D Mario or Zelda, to get everyone excited. Possibly both, if you really want to get everyone excited. But again, look, hey man, there's no pleasing everyone. We know that. For how many decades have I been watching? I mean, E3, Nintendo Directs, PlayStation State of Plays, all of that. Nobody ever leaves completely happy. Like as a group, there's always people who are upset and think it's not a good grade or this or that. And so I don't think you're ever going to reach pleasing everyone. There was a year during the GameCube era, had a great E3. It was Wind Waker, Prime, and Sunshine.
Mhm.
You know, like, and this is when we hadn't had Metroid since Super Metroid, because Fusion wasn't out yet. That came out the same day as Prime. So we waited a very long time for Metroid. That's like as close probably as you're ever going to get to that. But even then, people were still upset with Wind Waker's art style. Because they hadn't played the game. They just judged the crap out of it as usual. And then Sunshine, people weren't sold on the mechanics. So it's like you had the big three there, but still people weren't satisfied. It's never enough. So that is my answer to that. You'll never reach that paradigm. Let's see. As far as when the Direct's going to be, Nintendo really likes to own the headlines. That keeps them relevant throughout the year. They're gonna own the headlines with the movie until they don't own the headlines, right? Because there will be a time where that falls off. How long that's going to be, we don't know. But there will be a point where it starts to fall. And that's a good time to remind everybody about Nintendo again and get back in the headlines. So it could be fluid. It really could be. As far as getting a Direct before, June, yeah, I think it's absolutely possible. Anything is possible. Nintendo can do whatever they want to do. Said this several times over the years. Nobody makes the rules for them. The shareholders sure as hell don't.
Yep.
They never will. I think Nintendo respects them, but they do not at all take orders from them in any way, shape, or form. We respect your opinion. We respect your thoughts, your passion for Nintendo. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. But we're going to run our business the way we see fit, because that's what's always served us best. We know what's best for you more than you know what's best for you. That's how Nintendo operates. And in my opinion, they're allowed to do that. And I sometimes wish more companies would do that, because then we'd probably get some cooler stuff. We'd see some more riskier things instead of listening to people who just pony up the cash, your shareholders. So, yeah. Hey, dude, any time's possible. Obviously, we have what Nash Weedle said, and I do believe Nash Weedle has certain insights. Kind of leave it at that, but his reputation hasn't changed with me at all. Again, things are fluid. They're always fluid. This is how things work behind the scenes. Again, I worked in management for 20 years. If everything I was told about that didn't happen, that was like all the time. Only so many things actually happen.
Dude, monthly,
and you're best to keep your mouth shut always and keep it private, because things change all the time. And that's why you don't talk about it until you have to talk about it. That's why you have to go that way, because things do change. You don't want to start a fire when you don't have to. It's really important. Now, look, as far as the Direct as a whole, again, go back to what I always say. Focus on the controls. You cannot control when the Direct's going to be. What you can control is a lot of other things, though. If you want to play more video games, you can. They're there for you. They're there for the taking. If you want to attack your backlog, you can. It's staring right at you. It always is. It never goes away. It's always there, man. It's omnipresent. So if you want to do that, you can do that. Or if you want to continue to put it off, you can do that too. It's up to you. Point is, there's plenty to do in the world of gaming. Doesn't even to mention other things you can do in life, like different hobbies. But there's plenty to do as far as entertainment goes. I think the best thing you do is not think about the direct at all, because when it does get it, let me just say that's what I do outside of talking about it here. I don't think about it at all. And I can't. I'm so busy with games. Like I literally cannot. As soon as I finish a game and review it, I have to jump to the next one immediately. I'm like literally playing the game as my video is exporting in Photoshop. Like to make the most use of my time, I have to do this. So I don't even think about directs. And it's like, what happens if a direct gets announced and a bunch of games get announced to be coming out? It's like, I don't even know how I'm going to cover those because I have so many. So I don't even like to think about it in that sense too. The best thing is to not think about it at all, because when it does get announced, it's so much more fun when you don't think about it all the time. It is such a nice surprise, like a genuine nice surprise to be like, oh my God, we're getting a direct, versus these people that just are chronically on the internet wondering when we're going to get the next direct.
Stash, I think part of the problem is that a lot of people these days don't like surprises. You know, I've talked about it on the podcast multiple times, how I love when games have lots of unlockable characters, unlockable courses. Getting Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the worst thing about that game to me was that it just starts you with all the characters. Obviously, you can unlock car parts and stuff like that, but that's what people like. Most people don't like to find all the hidden secrets. They just want everything everywhere all at once. So yes. I think people just don't like surprises anymore, which is weird to me because I value that so much.
I love them.
And when I booted up Mario Tennis Fever, and I was like, oh wow, I only start with like a handful of characters and like 2 Fever rackets. Hell yes, game on. It's one of the reasons why I still have such a deep love for so many old retro games. Or, you know, I've talked about when I first joined the podcast, I used to always rave about Super Mario World. I used to talk about all the secret levels and how for years, even into like my early adult years, I was discovering things I had never seen before in that game. I love that. I really value that. Surprises are awesome. And I think leaving yourself vulnerable to be surprised with good things, not vulnerable with bad things, but leaving yourself vulnerable to be surprised by the mediums that you love and really care about is a special thing. You guys should hold on to that, especially in an age where like leaks and spoilers are like so hard to avoid now with the internet and with social media.
You just gotta have some self-control, you know, like that's how you preserve it. Have some self-control. Don't click on it. Don't watch it. Don't pay attention. Don't think about it. Focus on the present. That way you can enjoy the future. This is how life works, you know? It's not that hard. It's really not, but I know people struggle with it. That's the reality of it. But there's just so much out there for you right now. You know, it's funny you mentioned the unlockables, though. Like with Mario Tennis, my cousin Jim texted me like 2 days ago. He's like, hey, I'm really thinking about getting WWE 2K. Which version should I get? And I'm like, well, are you asking which console to get it on? Or are you asking which version of the game to buy? Because there's like 4 versions. And he said both. And, you know, I give him the rundown, the performance for Switch 2. You know, it's performing good. If you want the best of the best, yes, PS5, obviously. It's going to have better textures and then this and that. We were going over what edition. And, you know, Jim and I, we grew up watching the Attitude Era of wrestling. We've been to WrestleMania together. We used to go to Hooters back in the day when they showed the pay-per-view wrestling for free. You know, as long as you go there and buy wings and drink beer. This was when we were a little bit younger, though, which made it even more fun when I was like 15, 16. Was not supposed to be there. But he said 150, you know, that's a lot for this Ultimate Edition, because I was telling him what it comes with. He's like, can't you just like unlock this stuff by playing the game? You know, enough? I'm doing challenges. I'm like, Jim, those days, man, those are long gone, my friend. I hate to break that to you, but the days of unlocking things and in a lot of these games is gone. you got to buy packs now. Random elements, you got to buy packs of cards to hope you can get whatever it is you think you're going to unlock. But he was hoping that it was like back in the day with Revenge and No Mercy on 64, where you could, play the game and unlock all the good stuff. And I'm glad Nintendo still does that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that. I'm glad that you could still, I got Mario Tennis right over here. And it's like, I'm glad that I can still boot that up. And there's things for me to do, like unlocking characters and rackets. And I don't have to pay for it and be nickel and dimed for it after I already spent
absolutely
X amount of money on it. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Direct. I don't think about it. And I think that serves me really well. So when it happens, it's a ton of fun. And I know that I'll be jumping right on with Nate, no matter what time it is here. No matter how early I got to get up, it feels like Christmas morning every time for a big, for a big Direct. It doesn't have to be a general. It could be a third party one I was hyped for. But I get excited for Direct, so it makes it fun.
Stash, before we go to Nate to get his thoughts on this Direct situation. Can I ask you, is there any like one or two specific things that maybe you are hoping to see at the Direct that you would love to be there, or any surprises in particular?
Well, outside of the 3D Mario or something Zelda, I would really like to see what's going on with Dragon Quest 12.
Hell yeah.
Also think that could be a Dragon Quest Day thing, though. So I would like a nice surprise, something unique from maybe outside of Nintendo, from another developer like a Square Enix,
Right.
like Chrono Trigger, something nuts like that would be really cool.
Hell yeah. All right. Let's go to Primal. So Primal, just a little refresher. A lot of people are feeling very anxious. When's the next mainline Direct going to be? Are you in the camp? Do you think we'll be waiting until June before we get that Direct? Do you think it's possible this is something that happens sooner? And I guess more importantly than the when is, what are your expectations or hopes for that? What do you think Nintendo needs to show or do to kind of change the narrative? I know you're a little bit different with the offering so far this year. So what do you think Nintendo needs to do to really kind of turn around the discussion for this year in this first Direct?
Well, I don't expect a Direct until June or later. They have games through May. If there is one before then, there is an investors meeting coming up, so maybe one a week after or a week before that is possible as well. Try to get investors hyped up, especially if there's going to be some big announcements like 3D Mario, because you come off Pocopia, which we have seen its effect with investors. You go from that into a 3D Mario announcement right after the movie probably does some bonker numbers. That's just a back-to-back way to really, really please investors. And people talk about how, you got to please them. So maybe, or they can wait till June. Because Nintendo with their video game announcements, well, sometimes you can argue they're timed around the investor stuff. It's really only the September one that is. It just so happens that they do one every September usually, and that happens to line up around investor meeting time. I think it's just more of a coincidence than it is like they just planned for it to be that way. Like, no, September sounds like a good month to advertise your holiday stuff. And maybe tease one big thing for the next year, just to give people who are picking one up this holiday to know, hey, don't just get excited about now. You're gonna be excited for next year too. Give you that extra confidence boost to buy a system. And even saying June, I would say, well, maybe not. If it wasn't for the fact that I do believe Nintendo's doing something for Zelda's 40th. And I think they will reveal that in June. And so if not for that, I would say they could even get away not doing June. They could literally do a Nintendo Treehouse in end of April, feature, Yoshi, and then toss in Fire Emblem, and there's your June game. right? Like so there's just other ways they can go about this. They don't necessarily need directs in order to even announce games. Technically, they don't need directs. But that would mean that Nintendo's done with the direct format, and that's not the case. They're still using it all over the place. They're using it for third-party games. They're using it for indies, although they call them indie worlds now. They used to be called Nintendo Directs, the indie showcases, and then they changed it to Nindies, and then obviously now indie worlds. They're still using it for advertising individual games. So the thing about them still using the word direct and the way they're using directs now, because we are getting, I don't know if people paid attention. I started counting. We are getting a shitload more events called direct than at any point in Nintendo's history the last year. We're getting a piss load of them. And Nintendo isn't stupid. The last general direct they did was in September last year, and it was not very well received. And Nintendo saw that. They saw that since that direct, their stock basically has been dipping until now. So Pokopia came out. So Nintendo's acutely aware of all of this. And Furukawa is a big numbers guy. So he knows, okay, directs can hurt or help. Well, let's make sure a direct helps. And maybe we're just going to change things up and we're just not going to do 3 big general directs a year. We're going to stick to the holiday advertising one, which, I mean, maybe they stick to it or not. I have no idea. They might decide to do tree houses or something instead. But you look at the history, September is the safest month for a direct. And then just do a big summer one where you tease not just the games for the rest of that year, but, you tease a little bit into the future because, we technically have a game in the future in Winds and Waves, but we just don't have anything by Nintendo yet for 2027. So, yeah, I think that there will be one in June. And I think Zelda's 40th will be part of that. That said, the reason I just don't expect anything anytime soon is just the lineup's already there now. Like before, it was always, well, they don't have anything switched to exclusive scheduled past March. Well, now they do. So now it's like, okay, they don't really have to do anything. They can focus on the movie, focus on trying to sell Yoshi, and then figure it out from there. But I think Nintendo has a plan. And I think part of the plan is, okay, if we're going to do less general directs this year, which is what it feels like at this point, maybe they still do get 3 in, but feels like we're going to get less this year. Then it's time for the general direct to be a general freaking direct. And that means it is the showcase event of all directs, which it hasn't really felt like in the Switch 2 generation. The showcase event of all directs. So doing less of them, but having them be more jam-packed, I think is the way to go. And I think, narrative-wise, I actually think right now, narrative-wise, Nintendo's actually sitting pretty. I think Pokopia has done a lot to make people forget about pretty much a huge chunk of the negatives that people have been spewing now for months and months and months about Switch 2. Because it was one of these things, we talked about this last year, that the number one way that people will stop being negative about Switch 2 is you just keep releasing games that are undeniable. The games make you forget about everything because the games are why we're here. Literally, the games are all that truly matter in the end. And you release banger games, people will stop focusing on the negatives. And even with this, I've seen people like, God, am I really going to drop $500 to get a $70 key card? And then people just go do it. And everyone that I've seen do it for Pokopia hasn't shown any online regrets at this point for doing it. That lets me know the reputation is slowly turning around just because they have a banger game right now. Even if it doesn't appeal to me, it's a banger game right now. 2.2 million worldwide, 1 million in Japan. I don't know if you guys have been to your local retailers. You might have noticed that, hey, those Switch 2 shelves, they don't look as full as they once did. Why? Pokopia. And now they're starting to get physical restocks. That's just going to help, again, sell more and more Switch 2s. So I'm obviously curious on the long tail for Pokopia, of course. That's the whole thing. We don't know if it's going to be evergreen and all that jazz. Maybe it just hits 5 million and it's done. Maybe it goes on. There's people saying it'll sell 30 million. I'm like, well, we'll see. Okay. predicting more sales than Switch 2s exist. We'll see. We think it might be evergreen, and there could be future content updates planned that help that, but we don't know that right now. It's too early to tell. We're only 4 days of sales data in. That said, I am very, very, very anxious. I'm almost the opposite of Stash, right? Stash is very much a enjoy the moment, live in the moment, enjoy what we have now. Sure. I live in the moment and enjoy what I have now every day. Love it. Obviously, I love my life. I love who I am. But I also like to live in the moment while looking forward to the future. And maybe this is just because of the way I've ran my whole life. My whole life's always been about, enjoy the now, but have the goals in the future. So whether it's my weight loss goals and my surgery, right? That's like a now thing, a medical thing. Whether it's scheduling my next cruise 2 years out, go on with my lovely fiance. Everything in my life has to be planned, which means I have to constantly think about the future. I can't just focus on the now. Now, there's many days I do just focus on the now. I don't think about the future every single day, right? But I have to plan ahead. I have a family. I got 3 kids. Everything's got to be planned. I want time to do anything. I got a plan. I can't just decide on a whim, I'm going to do nothing but play video games right now. That's not how that works out. I even have to plan my video game time. So, since I'm someone that's got to be so forward-looking, that also means I got to be forward-looking with my games and my purchases and my budgets for the purchases. Games are expensive. They're not cheap. And for me to not know, I can just assume, Nintendo will have 3 holiday games I'm going to want. So I better save up, $250 so I have that covered plus tax, or if there's any deluxe editions or whatever. Cool. But then if those games don't come, well, then that budget could have went towards something else. So I got to think about these kind of things. I think a lot of people got to think about these kind of things, about budgets for games as gaming is getting more expensive than ever. And I don't even just mean the entry price. There's DLC, paid DLC. We have microtransactions. And while Nintendo doesn't go the microtransaction route as much, a lot of other companies do. Like, people talk about how GTA 6 might be a $100 game. I don't know if it will be, but I do know there'll be microtransactions in the multiplayer. I do know that. Hell, V-Bucks just went up in price. Virtual currency just went up in price. That's wild to me to think that inflation's hitting virtual currency. And it's because you're using real world money to buy it, and that money's not worth what it once was. So I'm in this situation where I really want a direct really, really bad. Like Eric said earlier, the want is now. Yesterday, last month. The want was in February. Give me the Zelda 40 upload. Give me everything else. Reveal 3D Mario. Get me super hyped. But that's obviously not what happened. So while I'm not panicking because I can enjoy the now and I enjoy some of the upcoming slate of games, especially from third parties, it's still one of those. Yeah, but I like to be excited about the future because, and maybe it's just as I get older now. But there's a lot of things that go into being excited about the future because it makes when it arrives even that much more exciting. And it feels weird at the moment that there's not a major Nintendo game announced right now that I am super hyped about. It's been a while since there's been 0 Nintendo games I'm actually really, really hyped on in the upcoming slate. Fire Emblem's the closest, and I've seen to see more. So I have concerns too. What if it's not what I want it to be? And that we barely saw the game. So it looks exciting, but we barely saw it. What if the social aspects aren't what we hope to be? What if they're very pared back? What if they're more like Engage?
Oof. Don't say
and
that.
I like Engage because Engage is like old school Fire Emblem before all the social features.
Sure.
And that is fine. But Fire Emblem's evolved for the modern age. And if they're still doing that Engage thing, which they yanked off shelves a year later, literally, Nintendo never does that. A year later, Nintendo yanked it off. Yeah. They took it off shelves in January of 2024, never brought it back. Remember the speculation? Oh, maybe they're going to do Nintendo Selects. Nope. They just didn't bring it back onto store shelves. You can still buy it on the eShop. but they stopped making the physical version because it wasn't selling. So I'm hoping that was obviously a lesson that, hey, we're going to go with a more social style.
Please.
Which I think that's probably the route they go, especially with how well received and best selling the Three Houses was for them for Fire Emblem, for a Fire Emblem game. You can go look at the sales, you might go, this isn't impressive for a Nintendo game. I'm like, it's impressive for Fire Emblem. And that's something you can build on with Switch 2 and maybe get even more sales. So while I want to be really hyped for the game, I'm kind of tepid until I see more and I get it more locked in about what kind of Fire Emblem this is going to be. I love the setting so far, and the visuals look amazing, but I need to see more. So barring that, there just isn't anything like I'm just really, really hyped for. And that feels weird because we said for all this time, especially in the content creation space, we just needed to get to Switch 2, right? 2024, it's kind of like remakes, remasters, and then your B tier, C tier games, your Echoes of Wisdom. That's really awesome. That ain't no Tears of the Kingdom, right? Your Mario and Luigi, really awesome to see it come back. Might be the worst in the series. Like, it's not, because the original developer is gone. So no surprise that there was actually a fallback on it where they're doing a new developer. Maybe the next one, if they do it again, will be better because that developer gets better and better at making them. So I'm willing to give it like more chances. I like the Mario and Luigi series, but it's just one of the most hyped games that year was Thousand Year Door coming back, and it's like, okay. I mean, I'm glad it's coming back. A lot of people haven't played that game, but also it's not new. And it was a transition year. And I thought when we got the Switch 2, we'd be done with just feeling like a transition. And it kind of still feels like once we got past Bonanza, it's just a bunch of B and C tier games. Even Pocopia that's blowing up right now, it's a spin-off game by Koei Tecmo. You guys know when the last mainline Nintendo game came out? Like from the main line of the franchise?
Was it Wonder?
Wonder for Mario, yeah.
I don't know.
I guess Donkey Kong, if you count that as its own series, obviously. But a lot of people do count it as its own series. So I guess Bonanza. But even then, that's July. It's March heading on to April. We haven't had a mainline Nintendo game release outside of Donkey Kong. And Donkey Kong took 25 years to get to us. So, like, it's very weird to me to not have... And I guess you want to count new IPs like Dragon Drive, fine. But, like I would count ARMS from 2017. But we haven't had a game even on the level of ARMS. So it just feels really weird because I thought we were done with the B and C tier Nintendo stuff being the primary releases. And here we are. And we had Kirby Air Riders and Age of Imprisonment as our big exclusive holiday games. Now, some people are going to point out in the chat, well, what about Metroid Prime 4? Yes, that is mainline. Not an exclusive. I'm obviously talking about Switch 2 exclusives. Just like Legends EA. It's mainline, but it's not an exclusive. I'm looking at just the Switch 2. Forget cross-platform games. Just Switch 2 because exclusive sell platforms. That's what Nintendo told us. Exclusive sell platforms. Okay. Well, then I'm still waiting for the next mainline game after Donkey Kong. And what is it? Is it Yoshi? Is Yoshi considered mainline now? When it was a spinoff from Mario? Donkey Kong I'm counting because Donkey Kong technically existed before Mario. Mario could arguably be a spinoff off of Donkey Kong, but not going to go down that rabbit hole. So it's like Wind and Waves and Fire Emblem. Those are the two next mainline ones announced. It just feels very weird to me, is all. So in order to get excited with a direct, all they got to do is announce some mainline fucking games. It doesn't even have to be Mario. Just to mainline anything. Animal Crossing. I think that might be a little too much cozy this soon. Maybe spread that out a bit, but even Animal Crossing, right?
What about Nintendogs?
Sure.
All right.
Still kind of their B tier, but whatever. At least it's mainline to that franchise.
Open world Nintendogs. They take it to the next level.
scenario. Next level. Everything's open world. But you know what I mean? Just like mainline games. I love the spinoffs. I love the side series. Those are supposed to be what we play between mainline games. But we're not supposed to be waiting a whole year between mainline games. Right now, there's not a single mainline game that we know coming out before July. That's a whole year. That's crazy to me. We're on a new generation, and we just came off 2024 where the same thing happened and there was no mainline. We haven't had mainline since Mario Wonder until almost 2 years later with Donkey Kong. And now here we are in 2020. Switch 2 has arrived, Nintendo. Switch 2 is here. Now show us why we needed this damn thing to play your games. You're not showing it. Everything you've shown started on Switch 1. Show me why we bought this fucking thing for your games. Now, I'm not actually like buyer's remorse here. I love my Switch 2. I felt it on day one because of all the upgrades to Switch 1 games. That's not the point. My point is for hype levels to fix, quote unquote, fix things, you got to show mainline IPs that people are excited for. They don't have to be your 40-year-old franchises like Mario, although I think that obviously would work. Mario is just as, maybe even more popular today than ever. You just got to show the mainline stuff to get people excited. And it could even be a new IP. A mainline new IP is fine. Show a new Monolith Soft IP. Like, it's incredibly frustrating that there's a lot of people out there that don't give a shit about the spinoffs. And I think you're missing out when you don't give a shit. But I can also understand that the balance of Nintendo releases has not been good. It's spinoff after spinoff after spinoff. Hell, it's not even games made by Nintendo. Yoshi's not made by Nintendo. Pokopia is not made by Nintendo. Mario Tennis isn't made by Nintendo. By the way, Nintendo has yet to release a game this year that they actually made. Fucking wild. Oh, by the way, the last game Nintendo made was Metroid Prime 4. The last game they made internally for Switch 2 was what? Dragon Drive? Because the two exclusive holiday games last year were also made by third parties. Like, think about this for a little while and realize that Nintendo's internal teams have shown us jack shit for Switch 2. And that's fucking wild. Even Fire Emblem, that's a third party. Dustfloods, it's a third party. What the fuck are Nintendo's teams doing? Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, and Jack All. So, like, that's what I'm saying. The Direct needs to show what Nintendo has cooking. Good. Had to give the opposite perspective of Stash there. I went a little far there, but, you know, I think I made my point.
Also, huge apologies to Prime's kids who are in bed for early day of school tomorrow.
No, they're still sleeping. They sleep through this shit every night. They're used to it.
Just in case.
I had to actually soundproof their floors in their room.
That's so funny. I just picture them like in a dead coma, and their eyes just shooting open as their dad's just screaming.
No.
Where are the games?
You know? Where are the fucking games?
I just want to say, like, I see a lot of people. I've seen some comments already of people saying game development takes time, and I get that. And I get, you know, especially in this day and age, like, I mean, Nintendo's making bigger, better, crazier games than ever. But then I'm also thinking at the point, like, I mean, we're talking about still a Mario game. We're talking about the next Mario Maker. It's been almost 7 years. The next Luigi's Mansion has been almost 7 years. Smash Bros. Almost 8 years. Next year. I'm like, what is the level? Like, what are we? I mean, are we now entering like an 8-9 year development cycle between major IPs from Nintendo? Like, are we getting 4 more 3D Marios before I'm gone? What is the development cycle period? And like, I mean, of course, if this 3D Mario comes out to be freaking Breath of the Wild levels of insane, sure. But I'm like, it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, what's too long? But,
all right.
Yeah,
well,
it really got to me because I hadn't thought about this for a while. The fact that Nintendo's internal teams haven't done anything in 2026. I didn't even realize that until I went on that little rant. And I'm like, dude, and even the upcoming game I'm excited for, Fire Emblem, isn't made by internal Nintendo either. What the fuck is happening? Like, what is going on? And I know game development takes more time, but we literally weren't getting mainline games last year besides Mario Kart and Donkey Kong, and the year before we didn't get any. So like, I don't know. To me, it's just a little wild, and I think that's where some of the frustration comes from with some people. Is this was supposed to end with Switch 2? At least we hoped it would. It's Switch 2. It's a new gen. And it was a really exciting start. Mario Kart, whether you liked it or not, whatever. Here's Donkey Kong. Oh, it's great. 91. And now just nothing from their internal teams for nearly 6 months. With nothing announced, by the way, upcoming from their internal team. That's the crazy part. It's not just in 6 months. Like, they've had plenty of periods. They've had 9-month periods where nothing internal from Nintendo released. It was all spin-offs or side stuff. But we at least knew about a big internal game. And we don't even know. We're guessing 3D Mario, maybe. We're guessing Luigi's Mansion 4, which would now count as internal because they own the studio. We're guessing, but we don't know, and that's wild.
Yeah, I think just knowing is very important. I mean, yeah, I was thinking about the fact, like, I think we talked about it on Twitter real quick for yesterday, but it was just like, yeah, of course, we're out of the Mario anniversary at the end of March, but I'm like, I mean, they could have just threw a bone and just said, hey, here's something to look forward to, and just gave us a tease or something. I mean, Pokemon did it. That's not coming out until 2027. So, I mean, like, something for the anniversary, something to just tease, that could have been a good little excitement thing. Even if the Mario game isn't until 2027, just having a tease would have been just like, ooh, just like a little feel-good feeling, having everybody talking about it again, everybody excited about something together. But, yeah, I agree.
Landon, I get the impression you would have even taken, like, even if they didn't show anything, but they said, oh, and by the way, I know a lot of people are anxious to see what's next for Mario's next big 3D adventure. We're not ready to show anything for a little while, but know that things are developing nicely. Like, even if it was a mention, I kind of feel like you'd probably be happy with that. Just an acknowledgement of its existence, or am I wrong? Are you wanting a little bit something more meaty?
I'm ready to see the thing. I'm ready to see it. Just like, even if it's just like, I remember they showed Odyssey, like Mario running for 2 seconds on the reveal of the Switch.
Right.
I'm like, something to be like, oh, what is that? Like, they gave us a little tidbit, like with that Switch 1 reveal, there was like little tidbit of Splatoon 2, a little sneak peek at Mario, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, getting something, like just something to give us the, even if it's just a screenshot, something with the developments, like you just said, maybe they just come out and say, hey, we're developing it. Here's like a little mock-up sketch or something in the game, something to get, okay, let's give us some, we can lay back and be excited about this thing. But yeah, just like, ooh.
Gotcha. You're ready.
I'm
All
ready.
right, Prime, before I share my thoughts on this, was your hopes / expectations just to see Nintendo, like first party Nintendo developed stuff, or do you have anything like specific that you're really hoping to see in this first mainline?
Look, I always want to see 3D Zelda teased, even though it's years away. But I mean, whether or not they decide to do that now or not, I don't know. Tradition says they will, but traditions are made to be broken. Just anything first party. I mean, obviously Mario is the big one that I think a lot of people like to see, just because 2017 since the last one. But as I said, it doesn't have to be that. Just anything that's mainline series made by first party, or if you guys want to call their own studios that they didn't found, second party, whatever. Just something like that. And this is not, I'm not trying to slight games made by their partners and all the side stuff. I mean, Pokopia is literally highest rated Pokemon game ever, right? Like, I'm not bitching about that game's existence. I'm so glad games like that exist. It's just, it should be in addition to big stuff from Nintendo. And I understand, like, they should reveal their games when they're ready, and I don't want them to rush reveals. Like, that's fine. I think the plan is weird. They released the Switch 2 at a weird time, and their plan for their cadence of games for it has also been equally weird.
Gotcha. All right.
It feels like maybe a good way to put it is, it feels like a complacent Nintendo. Which, by the way, the nice thing about the complacency is that does mean future years of Switch 2 are going to have a bunch of fucking bangers. So the longer we wait for them, the more the middle to back half, maybe we're in a PlayStation situation now where it's more like the middle, the back half of the system is just loaded. And that could be true.
This is why you enjoy the present. Stop worrying about the future. I'm serious.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's true. I was singing it the whole time. But it's true.
I know.
One other thing I would tell everyone is practice having some faith. I've been playing Nintendo since the 80s. Have faith. They always deliver. May not be on your timeline, but that's how the world works. That's how God works. It's always been this way. You guys got to accept it. Life's a lot easier that way.
Absolutely.
True.
Well, I feel like this direct situation is it's tough because I feel like it's very multi-layered. On one hand, I think a lot of us were expecting Nintendo to follow what's been a pretty common pattern of having that early beginning of the year, whether it was January or February direct, that kind of sets the stage for 2026. We got the third-party showcase, which I think was great, just showing that the strength of third-party support on Switch 2. I think it was lacking that big one more thing at the end. And while I do think that not Fallout, but Bethesda in general blowout was really awesome to see. I think anytime you end a direct on a known quantity, and in the case of the Bethesda games, with excluding the Oblivion remake, which is fairly recent, it's older games. It's hard to get that hype and that excitement as opposed to a brand new announcement, something no one's played before that's either coming exclusively to Nintendo Switch or revealed first on Nintendo Switch.
Plus, 2 of those games were already previously announced for Switch 2.
Right. Sure. Yeah. So I think as great as the promise that direct guaranteed, a lot of people were used to something different and expecting something different. Now, I'm kind of I'm stuck on both sides because part of me is in the same boat of Stash, where it's like I'm not worried because I know it's coming. It's a matter of when, not if. It's coming. There's going to be, period, a big major mainline direct that lands this year that's going to show off a bunch of great Nintendo games and most likely show off what we might expect for this year's big holiday game, whether it's Mario, whether it's Zelda, whether it's the next Monolith game. I don't know what it is. We won't know till we see it. It's coming. So live in the moment. Enjoy your backlog. I'm with you. At the same time, I think that we're kind of missing that excitement and hype that we've been used to for a while. Like Prime said, we usually have an idea of some big first-party game that's coming. And while for me and for Prime, I do agree that Fire Emblem is that game. And maybe for Landon, now that he's gotten to play one, that's really shot up there for him. But for the majority of gamers, it's still a niche series, and a lot of people are waiting for something bigger, for something more. Also, I got to take into consideration this is a brand new gen. We're not even 12 months in. How does this look versus the first 12 months of other consoles when they release? How many consoles are you guys used to throughout the generations having a pretty lackluster first 12 months? I don't think this has been lackluster. I think we've gotten some really solid titles. And I think some people forget how barren console launches can be at times. I mean, there was only a few games with PS5. You don't hear people talk about how awful the PS5 launch was. When was the last time you heard someone talk about that? We didn't have that much first party stuff.
2021. People were talking about them. Like when Returnal,
I mean,
was like such a huge gap.
like I personally don't remember it that well, but I might be wrong on that one. I'm just saying.
Well, the focus back then was like COVID and everything is sold out.
People were complaining a lot about games coming out on PS4 and PS5, and
Okay, well, there you go.
And it wasn't only for PS5, which was really weird again, because there's a great game waiting for you on PS5 that plays better, but you need it to be exclusive for some reason to feel better about it.
Well, I think they felt like it was being held back by PS4. I think was the feeling,
which is not true. Yeah.
Regardless, it doesn't even affect my argument, because my argument is, if you take a look back at other console launches, the first 12 months, there's many barren months. There are many generations where people probably question, maybe I adopted too early. There's nothing crazy coming yet. Obviously, we've had exceptions to that. Switch 1 was definitely an exception to that. But I think the other part is that, this is something that's been mentioned here. I know Kiwi talks about it, and it makes a lot of sense. Nintendo's has a console that's 10 times more powerful than the Switch 1 now. And development's more expensive. It's a lot more work, and it takes a lot longer. The biggest games of last year for Switch 2, we know started on Switch 1. They were originally Switch 1 games. We have not had a major mainline true Switch 2 exclusive that started development on Switch 2. We haven't had that yet. That's coming. I think we're in for some really special releases, and I think we're going through just the growing pains of a brand new generation. I think some of the messaging has been a little bit odd.
That helps. Yeah.
And that's something that, like, I stand by since the announcement. I think some of the messaging has been a little bit odd, and I don't think it's done them any favors.
Oh, Devin, you run the show now here. Let's get some better messaging, please.
But the thing is that whether or not this is going to be in June or sooner, I have no idea, and I don't lean towards either. I know I feel like most people are leaning towards June right now based off of an old pattern from when, 2023? Is that when they did the beginning?
The E3 patterns. Ever since E3 ended, so they did the final digital presentation in 2020. Nintendo's only had like 2 of the last whatever amounts of Junes, like the last 4 or 5 Junes that I've done a general in.
Got it. So there is a little bit of a pattern with this. But the thing is, and I've said this a million times on this show, Nintendo's the king of curveballs. It doesn't even matter that there's past patterns, because Nintendo is faster than any other company in the industry will throw a pattern out at the drop of a dime for something new. So, yeah, maybe it is not till June. And maybe they're going to have a massive blowout to cover the whole second half of the year and teasing what's coming in 2027. Maybe that's the case. Maybe next week they're going to have a massive blowout. I have no idea. Sit back, enjoy the ride, and you know what? Enjoy speculation, because as a fan of Nintendo, as a fan of PlayStation, as a fan of gaming in general, that's part of the fun. Talking about what we think we might see, or what we hope to see, or what we think the next Mario game. Don't let it be to a point where if your hopes and dreams aren't met, that it ruins it for you. You shouldn't let it do that. But part of the conversation of speculation is a lot of fun, at least for me. I enjoy it. When I think about what the dedicated 3D Zelda could look like on Switch 2, or play like, or mechanically be, or artistically go, the game doesn't have to be that. But it's fun to think about what could be possible, because oftentimes, and I think Stash mentioned that like, sometimes not giving us what we want is the better choice. Wind Waker, it's an art style that's timeless, holds up today, looks better. The art style holds up better than any Zelda art style, period. Fans didn't want that. Look at it though. Look at how beloved and revered that look is. I'm not talking about the sales at the time, but there's a lot of things, whether it's mechanics, that people didn't ask for. I'm sure a lot of people who were excited for what Zelda could be on Switch or on the Wii U weren't like, you know what I really want from Zelda is for them to get rid of dungeons, get rid of items, get rid of story. That's my hopes and dreams. They threw away half the staples of the series and people ate it up. If they had asked people like, oh, how do you feel about us just getting rid of all these core staples of the series? People would lose it. So sometimes you just got to let them do their thing, let them cook. I'm sure good stuff is coming. If we get that first mainline direct and there's really nothing to see, there's nothing to be excited about, and it does feel more like the single A or double A offerings, yeah, be worried. Because now it's like, okay, now we have reveals into 2027. We've got nothing big. What's going on here?
Imagine the direct, because we said, right, you usually have like two big announcements, one's at the beginning, one's at the end. And like, let's say the beginning, it's Fire Emblem. We're like, okay. And then they end it with Dust Bloods. And in between, it's just like Wind Waker HD is coming for the 40th anniversary. Oh, people are going to be so pissed. They're going to be like, we waited for a general direct this long, more than 6 months, 9 months, however long it's been. And our holiday game is Dust Bloods and Wind Waker. Yes.
Honestly, I think I'm definitely a victim of this. I think it's just we've been spoiled from the past.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Switch was a very spoiled gen because it's the first gen they combined everything together into one system. So we got a lot of games more consistently.
Even past that, though, I'm like, because I think the thing is with me, of course, it's the games. I mean, Nintendo, the games are what's so nostalgia, and we grew up with them, and it's a little bit beyond that for me, though. I think even part of the reason I made a channel was just for the hype moments from Nintendo. Like, I will always remember those, big events where Miyamoto came out on stage with the sword for Twilight Princess, and those big exciting things. Like, Nintendo knows that they build hype. Like, they are that company that can build hype and build memorable moments and nostalgia moments that you'll remember forever. And I think that's just the one thing that the Switch 2 has been missing is those big hype moments, those big hype things that everybody's going to remember. Like, dude, do you remember them when they revealed this? And it just seems like they're kind of just shadow drop here, Twitter direct thing here, and then just like it's losing that.
I agree. I do agree. I mean, I think it's missing the excitement that we all love and that we're used to. But I don't think that means the excitement's not coming. I do fully believe the excitement's coming. I think we're at the start of a new generation. It's not the Switch one all over again. They had a dying console. They knew really fast this console was over. And so they went all guns blazing on Switch 2. Or sorry, on Switch 1. Yeah. And they weren't really in a position where they had to do that this time. And I'm sure they're going to take their time with development. We've gotten a taste of what they can do, and seeing a game like Resident Evil 9 look as beautiful and run as phenomenal as it does is a really good omen for what's to come from first-party Nintendo stuff, in my opinion. Because when I think about Nintendo hardware and what third-party titles usually look like compared to first-party, people are always like, dude, the Nintendo devs are wizards. What secret knowledge do they have that they're able to make their games look and perform so well on their content that third parties just can't recreate? So, their wizards can cook up something special. We'll just have to wait and see what that is. I'm anxious. I'm just as anxious as everyone else. It's coming. We don't know when. Let's hope for the best. Let's be optimistic. Hope for the best. It's less than 12 months. It's normally slow for most new consoles. Be worried if they do their first mainline direct on year 2 and there's nothing big. Then I'd be like, okay, that's odd. We're going to be going into 2027 with nothing huge or nothing exciting. I get it. But I'm not worried. As far as what I hope to see at this event, I've got 2 things. Obviously, there's so many things that I would really hope to see, Zelda included. But 2 things for this one in particular. 3D Mario for 2 reasons. One, I just really, really, really want the next 3D Mario so bad. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it is. I just know that I want it. I just know that I need it. So, and more importantly, I drafted it in Fantasy Critics. So for free, for 0. So if I could snag next mainline 3D Mario for $0 bid, I'm gonna be a happy bird. My second hope for this is the revival of a dormant IP. And this is one I mention all the time on the podcast. I've said it 1,000 times now. I'm sure to nauseum for everyone watching. And that's Star Fox. Listen, Star Fox is a game that I really believe in on Switch 2. And when I say I really believe in it, I'm not talking the on-rails arcadey Star Fox 64 style. I'm talking reinvent the series like you did for Donkey Kong this gen. Reinvent the series like you did for Fire Emblem last gen. Reinvent it like you did for Zelda last gen. Bring Star Fox into the modern age, whether it's a follow-up or a reboot of the adventure series that plays more like Ratchet and Clank, or whether it's more like that game, I forget what it's called, Chorus or Corvus, that came out. That's full-on space exploration with side quests and just like epic. I want epic space opera, space exploration that's story focused and character driven with these fantastic characters with side quests. Maybe you could dock in space stations, talk in space taverns, even like add some like Mass Effect level storytelling to it. I don't know. Do something to bring Star Fox back in the modern age in a way that's going to appeal to a wider array of gamers. Star Fox is brilliant. It's great characters. People love it. I just don't think in today's gaming age, it makes sense to charge full price for a short on-rails arcade shooter. I think it's time for Star Fox to grow up. And I think it's a series that greatly deserves it. So that's one of the things I'm really hoping for. Knock on wood.